皆さん、英語のソータです。
And I'm Riley.
Riley, today we are going to talk about our part-time job experience. Are you
Yeah.
excited about it? You love part-time job?
I wouldn't say I love part-time jobs. I've had a lot in my life, I'd say.
A lot. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, one of the things I focused on, with passion during my college life was part-time jobs. In my case, I'm excited about this topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then in June, maybe people get kind of tired. I feel like everyone is kind of tired now after the rainy season, and then maybe we have a lot of tiredness, I guess, because it's been 6 months since this year started, and then everyone was working hard. So maybe this episode will inspire or encourage someone to enjoy working.
Okay. I don't know if I'll help with that, but you can try.
Yes. はい。皆さん、6月のなんか中盤ぐらい以降ぐらいから、僕の周りを見ていてって感じですけど、ちょっとこう、お疲れモードになられてる方多いのかなって思っています。で、仕事もね、いろいろこう、状況によって人それぞれ違うと思うんですけど、僕自身も仕事が結構今、ピークで忙しかったりっていうところで、今ちょっとなんかこう、今一度、頑張りましょうよみたいな感じのエピソードを作れたら良いのかなと思いまして、今回このエピソードを選びたいなと思いました。で、一個僕は大学時代にすごい頑張ったことの一つに、アルバイトっていうのはすごいあるので、誰かの刺激になるお話になると嬉しいなと思ってます。プラスライリーもいろいろアルバイトをやってきたっていうことなので、そこのね、日米との違いも比較しながらお話してきたらなと思ってます。僕は英語のソータで調べていただくと SNS いろいろ出てきますし、Riley も Riley さんのXT で調べていただくと、出てきます。スピーキング本の本なども3月に出版させていただいたので、もしよかったらそちらもご活用ください。Okay, Riley, are you ready?
Yep.
ソータと
Riley no
台本なし英会話レッスン
Episode 319.
All right, what is the topic for episode 319, Riley?
Yeah, it's our part-time job experiences.
はい、今回のお題は、僕たちのアルバイトの経験です。How about you? Are you also tired around that time?
Like now, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm like generally tired. I think I'm all right.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, then you can inspire everyone. はい。Okay, yeah, so you said you have a lot of part-time job experiences in the past. So can you, yeah, I think I heard you were working as a restaurant, shop staff or something.
Yeah, I've done that. So probably my first part-time job, I guess you could say it was a part-time job, is in the summer when I was in like junior high school. I used to work on a farm, my friend's farm. And then after that, I started working in a different friend's restaurant. Like his dad owned a restaurant, so I would wash the dishes there. Then I worked in a McDonald's for a little while in like high school in the summer. Um, and then every summer I would do that farming job. Um, and then I think that's it for like high school and junior high school.
Okay. Yeah, so let's look back on our part-time job history one by one. Then, yeah, I want to know what you did, and yeah, I want to talk about what I did. So my first part-time job was Hokaben. Do you know Hoka Bento?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was working there. And then actually, I kind of love to serve. For example, at a restaurant in Japan or yeah, everywhere, we can choose two types of jobs. One is serving, and the other one is cooking. And
Right.
then
Yeah.
yeah, I love serving. But at the time, at Hoka Hoka Bento, the only job was cooking. But I thought
Mm,
it would be really good for me in my life if I was able to handle those, cooking skills, or especially during the busy time, I had to hurry up and then efficiently, I had to think a lot about the processes. So I thought this would be really, good for me. So I decided to work there. And also, my high school didn't allow us to work as a
mm,
part-time job worker. But yeah, I had some financial problems at the time, so I had to do it without telling,
mm.
my high school. And then, yeah, that Hoka Hoka Bento was okay because I didn't need to get the, permission from high school or something. So, yeah, that's my first time, first
Right.
part-time job experience.
Yeah, that's pretty different. Like in America, we don't have to. It would be crazy for a high school to say you can't get a
Yeah.
job, and
Mm-hmm.
for any job to ask your high school if you're allowed. Like that would never happen.
Mm-hmm. So no rules for that. Like, for example, at a bar, you can't work, or no rules for that.
Yeah, I think there are rules like you can't serve alcohol unless it might be different in different states, but it's usually at least 18, and maybe mo many states it's 21. You
Mm-hmm.
can't serve alcohol. So most like high school students might not do that for a job, like
Mm-hmm.
working in a bar or something. Even maybe a restaurant, if you're like, you could be a waiter in a restaurant in high school, but you might not be able to serve the alcohol. Somebody else might have to bring the alcohol to the table or whatever.
Mm. And in America, generally, people start working as a part-time job worker from 16, 15.
Um, yeah, maybe. I think you can even start at 14 a lot of places.
Oh.
Um, I think I probably started at, well, my first like real job like McDonald's was probably 14, but worked a little bit before that too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, mo I don't know about most people. Many people have jobs in high school.
うーん。I see. 一旦ちょっと訳しますね。そう、今回ちょっとお互いのまずは歴史をね、振り返れたらなと思ってるんですけど、history はね、こう履歴、歴史、過去の経験みたいなニュアンスでね、履歴みたいな感じでね、言えますけれども、そう、ライリーはまずファーミングって言ってましたけれども、なんでその仕事を選んだのか後で聞きたいなと思ってるんですけど、ファーミングとマクドナルドでこうバイトしていたと。で、アメリカでは結構14歳ぐらいからバイトできるところも多いらしいですね。14ってすごいですよね。日本はやっぱ大体16ぐらいからかなと思うんですけど、で、僕の一番最初のアルバイトの経験は、1年ぐらいだったかな。そうかな、1年近く、ほかほか弁当でしたね。最近ね、他弁のお弁当にまたハマってるんですけど、他弁の僕チキン南蛮スペシャルが大好きな話、これまた広がっていくぞ。チキン南蛮スペシャルが大好きなんですよ。Have you triedほかほか弁当
Yeah, I think maybe once or twice.
Really? Which one did you choose?
I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't remember it being very good, to be honest.
I don't remember.
I don't I don't think it was very good when I tried it.
Really?
Yeah.
なんとかなんとか special. Please try. なんとかなんとか special. My favorite is チキン南蛮 special.
Okay.
But it's a little sweet, so you might not like it. But I love fried chicken there. 他弁の
Okay.
もう唐揚げが一番美味しいなって気づいた。なんかいろいろあるじゃないですか。こう、これ今日のトピックなんや、唐揚げかって話、弁当かって話やけど、そう、ファミマとか、セブンイレブンとかいっぱい唐揚げあるじゃないですか。やっぱ、いや、他弁美味しいなと思ったから、トライしたことある？ Have you tried fried chicken? 他他
Like I said, I don't remember what I
You
had
don't
there.
remember?
I know I've been there and I've been to the other one, Hotomoto.
いや、ほっともっとあかん、
Um,
ほっともっとあかん。こんな言ったらあかんかも
okay.
ね。いや、ほっと
Oh,
もっと、
sorry.
ほっともっとは美味し
Rivals.
くない。美味しくない。It's not really
I
good for me.
I thought they were both not very good, to be
Really?
honest. Yeah.
そう、ホットモットは、ごめんなさい、今、ホットモットの勢力強いし、全国あちこちにあるし、好きな方もねいらっしゃると思うけど、いや、他弁に比べたら、やっぱホットモットは、いやって、ホットモットがね、他弁を買収かなんかしましたよね。そっからもう他弁減ってもって、他弁ないと思ってたけど、最近また食べたら美味しいから、そう、他弁の、じゃあ、フライドチキンと、あとは、なんとかなんとかスペシャルっていうのを次頼んでな、ライリーは。
Okay.
う
I
ん。
I can't promise I'll do it soon, but maybe if I have a chance to go to Hoka Hoka, I'll try the
そうそう
special or
そう。
the
うん。
chicken.
そう、なんとかスペシャル、それ美味しいから。そう。で、すいません、めっちゃ脱線しましたけど、僕は他弁が一番最初のアルバイトだったんですよね。で、まあ、さっきファイナンシャルプロブレムスって言ったんですけど、なんか、厳密に言うと、そう、学生の時、僕ちょっと、そう、病気をしたことがあって、こう、文字を読めないみたいなことに実はなったことがあるんですね。たまにどっかで言ったことあるかもしれないんですけど。で、受験が控えてる中で、ちょっとそういう逆境があったんですよ。こう、進学校でみんな勉強とかしている中、文字が読めなくて、こう、人より、まず文字を読むリハビリをしないといけないみたいな。プラスなんかもう父親が亡くなった直後でもあったので、結構もう嫌みたいな、はーってなってた時で、勉強するのもちょっともう嫌みたいな感じだったんですよね。で、読んでもしんどいし、なんか集中力も続かないし、みたいな。で、その時にやっぱりね、何にもしないのはダメだなと思って、やっぱね、家族のためにも、あるいは自分のお金は自分でせめてもうするっていう自立心が昔からすごい強かったので、もうアルバイトを本当はしちゃダメな高校だったんですけど、他弁でしたっていう。で、最初はまあ、うち親もそういうところ厳しかったので、ちゃんとしたところでバイトしなさいみたいな感じで、郵便局だったら OK って感じだったんですよ。で、郵便局行ったら、バイトのその証明書を持ってこいみたいに、高校の許可証を持ってこいって言われて、あ、これ無理やなってなって、まあその中でも他いろいろ探したけど、まあコンビニは強盗が来るから危ないからダメ、うちはダメっていう、うちのね、ルールですよ。危険だからダメっていう、高校生の時はっていうのがあって、できなくて、そう最終的に他弁に行ったんですよね。で、まあ、最終的に他弁がいいなって思った理由が、こう、やっぱり手先をこう動かして、何かね、効率よく働くっていうのは、長い目で見たときにいろんなところに役立つだろうなと思って、誰よりもこう早くパッて効率よく作れるようにっていう練習のために、結構そこを最終的に選んだのもあったかなっていうお話でしたね。で、ライリーが言ってたのが、アメリカではそういう許可証とかそういうのね、ないから自由だよっていうお話でしたね。Yeah, technically, it was not a financial problem, but it was related to that. But the biggest issue I had was I couldn't read at the time,
Mm,
read letters.
right.
And then I had to do some rehabilitations, but I just wanted to give up, studying or, yeah, I was kind of devastated at the time. So
Huh.
I didn't want to study, and then I didn't want to talk to my friends because everyone was studying, but I didn't want to compare myself with them. And then yeah, anyways, I wanted to be alone at the time. But if I stopped studying, the only thing I was able to do was earning money, I thought. But yeah, as I said, the high school didn't allow me to do it. So I went to the post office near my house because it was a
Uh-huh.
kind of serious job, and my mom said that's okay because it's not a dangerous place. Sometimes at convenience stores, robberies happen. So
Mm,
yeah, she said until 18 or 19 you shouldn't do it. So anyways, yeah. Then I ended up working at a convenience store. No, working at a Hoka Hoka bento shop.
right.
Then I met the wonderful fried chickens. And that was my
Okay.
favorite. Yes. So how about you? Why did you choose farming and then the other one, McDonald's?
Well, yeah, my first two were both like related to my friends' parents' companies, I guess you would say companies. I
Mm,
mean, my one friend lived on a farm, so his
mhm,
like grandpa had a big farm, and then every summer they would need people to um help with the straw, I guess. So it's
mhm,
like they grow this straw and then they cut it down and they put it into bales, like big cubes,
うん。
kind of. And then our job would be over like about a month probably. We would take these cubes and like put them into a stack, like a pyramid inside this barn.
うん。
Um, and it was horrible. It was summertime, so it was like 35 degrees all the time. We're in this barn, which is like extra hot because there's no air
うん。
conditioning or anything. And then the straw is like it's everywhere in the air. There's like this like dust and
う
kind of like
ん。
it's not exactly like pollen, but it's some kind of like plant dust or whatever that's just everywhere and the air feels really bad.
う
It
ん。
sucked. It was a terrible terrible job, but I did it with my friends and we made good money for the time.
うん。
So we always did it. I
う
mean, also like his
ん。
family needed the help because it was like kind of this extra job where they needed a bunch of people to do it. So there would be like five of us friends plus like maybe a few other people from the community or whatever.
うん。Yeah, I often hear farming jobs, you know, give us a lot of money, good money, right?
Yeah, it seems that way for like these temporary like not part-time job, but also like kind of temporary jobs. I think if you actually work on a farm full time, you might not make a lot of money, but
うん。あーうん。How much was the wage?
um, I think it was $15 an hour.
ん $15? あ、
Yeah,
$15。あ、$15。うんうん。Okay.
$15 an
うん。
hour. So like even now, that's like pretty good.
う
But at
ん。
that time, it was probably 2006 or something when I started. It
う
was
ん。
very good money.
うーん。なるほど。ストラは、あれやんな、多分藁みたいな感じやな。ライスス
Yeah,
ト
yeah,
ラ、
yeah.
うん、藁やんな。そうそう。あとはバーン。これを打っておいてもらいましょうかね。納屋とかっていう、ね、なかなか使うことないかもですけど、まあ、ちょこちょこ聞くよなっていう、そう、バーン、納屋。その、藁を積んだり、なんか片付けたりみたいな、する仕事で、まあ、時給のお話今出ましたよね。で、当時は、時給2600円。今でもやばいぐらいのいい時給ですよね。で、大体1500円ぐらいだと思うけれどもと、それでも全然いい仕事、今でもいい仕事と捉えられるけど、その当時2600円ぐらいだったと。めっちゃいいですね。で、そのバーンが夏暑かったり、あとは埃とかね、アレルギーないの？ You don't have
I
any
did actually. I
allergy?
am I did have allergies, yeah. So I would
うん。
take like allergy medicine,
うんうん
like which made me sleepy, but
うん。
yeah, it was kind of crazy.
そう、僕、そこでやったらちょっともう鼻死んでまうなっていうぐらい僕はアレルギーなので、動物とか、ホコリとか、そういう系のアレルギー強いので、そう、I'm allergic to 何々、I have an allergy to 何々で何々にアレルギーがあるっていう感じですね。そうで、そうそう、ああいう系の薬飲むと眠たなんのよね。サイドエフェクトがね。だからちょっとあれしんどいけれども、そう。で、まあ、選んだ理由としては、そういう、友達がやってる、うん、家業みたいな感じのを手伝ってたと。うん、それでまあ、高校で働いてたと。What about the other one, McDonald's? Why did you choose the place?
Well, actually, before McDonald's, I worked at my other friend's restaurant, and that was kind of like a healthy restaurant. It wasn't exactly vegetarian, but they had a lot of vegetarian food. Um, and so I would wash dishes there.
うんう
So
ん
that was kind of cool. I like would go in there in the morning and I would wash dishes from like whatever they didn't finish from dinner the night before, and then I would hopefully finish that before they like opened for lunch, and then yeah, I would clean up, the dishes. And a little bit if there was like slow downtime, then I could talk to the other people in the kitchen and stuff. But most of the time I was in kind of this my own little area just washing the dishes for like 6 hours or
うー
something.
ん。なるほどね。そっか、いろいろ、確かにもう若い時からね、バイトはいろいろしてるみたいですね。マクドの前もいろいろレストランでやってたりっていう。Then, after getting into college,
Yeah.
yeah, let's talk about that. So,
Okay.
I only have two jobs I had. Yeah, Hoka Hoka Bento and the other one, that had a huge impact maybe on my life was working at Uniqlo
Okay.
for 3 years.
Wow.
And
I never
then,
had a job that long.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, once I start a job, maybe, I continue working there kind of for a long time. Hoka Hoka Bento 1 year and then 3 years at Uniqlo. Oh, and then after that, tutoring, 家庭教師のトライ, um, when I was in the fourth grade in university. But
Mm,
yeah, I loved working at Uniqlo because yeah, another reason I chose to work there was that I was assuming that customer service skills would be necessary. And then if I had that kind of skill, I would, be able to work anywhere. Because all the
hmm
time we need any types of communication, not only with customers. So if I can handle or if I can have the great skills of being able to make our customers happy, I thought, yeah, this would be really helpful. So I literally worked there so hard. And then I was always thinking about the, good ways. For example, how can I sell this product effectively? Or how can I make our customers happy? So yeah, still looking back, that time I was enjoying each
mm.
moment working there. Yeah, that's my second job. How about you? After getting into college, what did you do?
Uh, yeah, after getting into college, I started working at this it's called America Reads, which was like maybe it was a government program actually. I'm not exactly sure, but it was through the university, and then they would send me to go like help teachers in schools in New York City.
Mhm,
So I worked
mhm,
for 2 years. I worked at an elementary school that was in Manhattan, and I really liked that actually. It was really
mm,
cool working with the elementary school kids. It was like this, it was a kind of a special school. Like it was a public school, but it was
mm,
like they called it like a community school or something.
mm,
And so they had like two teachers per class plus me.
mm,
Um, and then the kids would come from like all over the city, not just nearby. And then there were like I mean, I guess it's New York City, so maybe this is anywhere, but it felt like the class was like especially diverse.
mm,
Like there were kids from, like uh they were like kind of white rich kids. There
mm,
were kids that were like had one parent who was from Europe, or
mm,
I had a kid whose parents were from Chile.
mm,
And then other kids who like lived in the projects. Projects is like public housing, so like
mm,
kids that didn't have as much money. And
mm,
so it was this really interesting mix of all kinds of kids.
mm,
And then in a pretty small classroom with two teachers, so they got like a lot of attention. It was probably nice. I think it probably competitive to get into that school. I don't know if there
mm,
was a test or anything like that, but it seemed
mm,
kind of special.
mm. You liked working there because you were able to feel the diversity.
Um, yeah, that's kind of a weird way to put it. That's a good point. I liked working with the kids, and I liked that there were all these like different kids that were interesting, and it was quite different from like when I grew up. Pretty much all the kids were the same, it seemed to me, when I
Mm.
was in like elementary school or whatever. Um, but yeah, it was kind of nice getting to teach. My job was like especially like helping the kids with reading. So I
Mhm.
would just read books with the kids and stuff like that. So it was fun, yeah.
うーん。なるほどね。Oh, I didn't know, you had that kind of job before. そんなバイトしてたとは知らなかったですね。しかも 2 years, you said. Kind of long.
Um, at that school 2 years, and then I kept the same job, but I moved. So I asked to go to a different school, and then I was working in junior high schools in Brooklyn for the last 2 years. But honestly, I didn't like that one as much because
なるほどね。
Those schools, this is mean of me. I shouldn't say this. I was not a very good worker. I got a lot because that was my third and fourth year of
うん。
university. I got a lot busier.
うん。
So I would often, not go to work if I had like tests or something like that,
ああ。
which was okay. That was kind of like expected at that job,
う
like,
ん。
because they knew they were all students. So it was kind of like, yeah, it was kind of okay to say, hey, I have tests this week. I'm not going to come into work. And then
う
they would
ん。
say, okay. Um,
なるほどね。
but
うん。
those schools were a lot rougher. Like they were in kind of not so good neighborhoods, and a lot of the kids had like trouble at home. So there would be like fights a lot,
う
not in the
ん。
classroom so much, but like in the cafeteria or outside the school, there would be a lot of fights. And these are junior high school kids, so they're pretty big kids. So
う
honestly,
ん。
I was like a little scared going to those schools.
なるほどね。うん、そんな仕事していたとは。そう、次僕たちが get into the college 大学に
Yeah.
入るっていうね、get into も使えますけれども、の後にやった仕事としては、まずライリーは、学校でね、先生を手伝うっていうお仕事で、僕はユニクロなんですけど、で、まあ、結構二人ともここは長くバイトしてるのかなと思うんですが、そうライリーはこのお仕事すごい好きだったと。なぜかというと、diverse。これが、形容詞。で、diversity にすると名詞になりますけれども、
Mm.
すごい diverse だったと。いろんな国だったり、いろんな環境、バックグラウンドの人たちが集まってる教室で、まあ、その生徒さんと生徒さんのお手伝いをするのも好きだったと同時に、ダイバーシティも見れたり、あとは、なんかすごい環境的にいい学校だったんでしょうね。で、competitive って言ってましたけど、他の学校に負けないように勉強をサポートしようとかっていう、すごいそこのやりがいがあったと。で、そこで2年働いた後は、また別の学校に行ったんだけれども、そこはちょっと、地域的にあんまりね、治安がよろしくなかったのか、ちょっと喧嘩が起きたりとか、あんまり良くない学校で、もう行くのが怖いぐらい体が大きい子たちもいてっていうのが、ライリーの大学時代のアルバイトっていうことですね。そうで、まあ僕のこのお話がね、どなたか今しんどいなとかって思ってる方とかの何か刺激になればなと思うんですけど、僕は結構アルバイトとかに対する意識がもう学生の頃から自分でも思うぐらい人より高くて、何かもう与えられた環境でもう120%どんな時も頑張るっていうのが自分のなんかどんな時も人生のモットーかなと思うんですよね。で、結構時給安いから楽に働こうとか、見てないところはもうサボってとかっていう、まあ、人も周りにいる中、ユニクロは基本的に意識高い人は多かったんですけど、それでもやっぱり楽に働いたらいいじゃんみたいな人って絶対いるじゃないですか。まあ、いろんな価値観あると思うんですけど、僕は絶対何かその環境でもう学び取れるものを絶対フルで吸収するっていう価値観だったので、その時思ってたのが、接客力を、磨けば、絶対人生、ゆくゆく自分のためになるってすごいその時思ってたんですよね。で、あの時は全然もう企業に行くつもりだったので、僕の一個モットーが、接客を制する者は人生を制するっていう言葉を自分で作ってたぐらい、接客力さえ絶対あれば、どの会社に行っても、どのその部署にやられても、絶対うまくやっていけるし、やっぱ人と人とのね、こう、やりとりじゃないですか、人生とかお仕事って。ってなると、ここをちゃんと磨けば、すごいこう、自分の人生が豊かになるんだろうなと思って、すごい接客力を磨くことを頑張ってました。で、まあ具体的に何やってたかっていうと、マニュアル通りの動きじゃなくて、これをどうやってこういうふうに、説明したらお客さんが喜んでくれるんだろうとか、マニュアルではこうしなさいっていうのがあるんですけど、もっと商品をこんな風に置いたらいいんじゃないかとか、なんか本当にもうバイトの域を超えてたなっていうぐらい、結構頑張ってたなと思うんですよね。でも、そこで絶対3年続けるって決めてたので、3年やって、で、まあ、ね、意地悪してくる人とか、ね、目立とうとする人をね、撃とうとする人とかって、やっぱ絶対いるので、やっぱ嫌われたりすることもあって、3年経ったら絶対辞めるって決めてたので、3年決めて辞めたっていう感じでしたかね。そう、ライリーにちょっと次聞きたいなと思うのが、when we work, at a company or whatever, we always have some problems with relationships, human relationships. So,
Hmm.
in your experience, did you have any, mean people or bad people around you when you were working as a part-time job worker?
Um, Okay, if I go way back to the restaurant, my friend's restaurant that I worked in when I was in like junior high school and early high school, the chef
うん。
there
うん。
was pretty strong,
う
I would
ん。
say. And
うん。
he would sometimes like yell
う
if I
ん。
was like too slow washing the dishes, if he didn't have the plate that he needed or whatever,
うん。
he would yell at me. And I remember one time, I guess I didn't clean well enough, like the plates were still a little bit dirty,
うん。
and he like really yelled at me.
うん。
And it was my fault, like I
う
didn't
ん。
do a good job, but also I was, 14 years old or something.
うん。
So the owner, who was my friend's dad, kind of like talked to him and told him to chill out and like, you know.
うん。
So yeah, it was kind of weird because I was a kid, and so I was kind of being like looked after a little bit by the owner, by my friend's
うん。う
dad.
ん。
But um it wasn't like a real big problem, but it was, yeah, kind of scary, I
うん。う
guess.
ん。Yeah, no matter where we go, we have that kind of people. But in his case, he had just passion, or he was mean, or just because of the way he talked.
Yeah, I wouldn't go so far as to say he was like mean,
うん。
but he was yelling, like really
あ
yelling.
あ、
So that
う
was
ん。
maybe too far for
ああ、う
like
ん。うん。う
work,
ん。
especially at a kid.
Yeah, kind of emotional worker,
Yeah. Yeah,
perhaps.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, in my case, yeah, I had, yeah, emotional workers not yelling, but their moods change depending on what they had before coming to work. And then yeah, Uniqlo has kind of strict rules for customers. So they always say for customers we have to do this or we have to do that. But when they are upset or when they are not in a good mood, they don't do the good service for customers. So all the time it
Mm,
was kind of contradictory. Uh,
right.
so I yeah, I didn't really like it. So all the time I had a kind of fight. I said to them like you said like this, but yeah, especially when they said, "Oh, you should do this because you didn't you should do this or you should do that." But at the time, I was young, so I fought back and then said, "You always say for customers, but your mood changes depending on how you feel." So I had that kind of argument. So sometimes, yeah, emotionally workers always bother other workers. So maybe that should be happening anywhere, perhaps.
Yeah, I think it could happen anywhere for sure.
You don't have that type of emotional workers.
Um, not no, not back then, I would say. Actually, I didn't that was maybe the only real big problem I had with coworkers. I guess
Mm,
at McDonald's I had some kind of different situations,
mm,
but like it was, yeah, not so good. But like sometimes people would come into work high or maybe drunk, I don't know, but like, not in their not sober, let's
mm,
say.
mm, mm,
And that it wasn't like a personal problem, but it would mean that they like weren't very good at their job, which was kind of annoying.
うんうんうん。
Yeah.
なるほどね。sober、シラフみたいな感じですかね。こう、全く酔ってない状態。あとさっきもう一個何だったかななんか言おうとした、diverse は言って、何だったかなyell だ。yell at 誰々で誰々に叫ぶっていう意味ですけど、そう、なんか次ね、こう、僕の友達とかもね、昨日もちょっと話してて、水泳で仲良くなった子がね、これやっぱ人間関係がしんどいっていうね。で、どこに行ってもやっぱ人間関係、ね、どっか勤めてたら人間関係の問題ってね、あるじゃないですか。で、僕はもう大学卒業というか、もう大学生のもうこのお仕事をしてからそういう人間関係トラブルもう一切ないので、すごい今はストレスフリーなんですけど、やっぱ学生の頃のアルバイトって、 なんかいろんな人いたなと思うんですよね。で、ライリーは、叫んでくるシェフっていうね。そう。で、まあ、性格的にどういうタイプなんだろうって今聞いていて、多分意地悪とかまではいかない。で、熱血とまでもいかない、ちょっとこう、感情的な人なんだろうなっていう感じがしまして、まあ、エモーショナルでくくってましたけれども、感情的で自分のムードによって、なんかコロコロ態度とか言ってること変わる人っているじゃないですか。で、大学生とかに偉そうにするっていう、もう、そうなんで人のこと言えんなって僕はよく思っちゃうタイプだったので、結構若かりし頃は結構喧嘩してたんですけど、ちゃんとできてない人に言われたくありませんみたいな僕ちゃんとやることはやってたので、機嫌で変わるのやめてくださいみたいなことを、今やったらもう言われへんけど、そう、よう言うてたなと思うんですけど、そう、で、なんでしょうね。あと、もう一個あるのは、挨拶しない人。ちょっとこれもライリーと話したいなと思うんですけど、まあ先に訳すと、そう、僕はこう、意地悪だったり、あとはそうですね、お客様のためって言ってるのに、自分が忙しかったり、自分が機嫌悪い時はお客様のためのことをしないっていう、例えば、その時はなかったんですけど、例えばポイントカードありますよとかって言ってあげたらお客様のためになるのに、自分が忙しくてめんどくさかったらその案内しないみたいな。もう僕はもうそういうのがもう一番ちょっと仕事としてありえないと思ってた人間なので、お客様のために本当に尽くして頑張るっていうタイプだったので、正社員の人とかそういう人が、なんか言ってること違うな、みたいな、contradictory っていうね、矛盾してるなっていう時は、すごいなんかこう、ってなって、まあ、ごちゃごちゃした時もあったかなと思いますかね。contradictory も、ライリー、打っといてもらえますかね。
Oh, sure.
contradict
Yeah.
もそうですし。そう。で、もうちょっと聞きたいなって思うことがあるんですけど、これ、日本あるあるなのかどうかをちょっと確認したいんですけど、In Japan, sometimes mean workers, mean people don't greet, don't say hello, or after someone says hello, they don't say back. Does that happen in the States?
Are you talking about like staff at like a store, or are you talking about like in an office?
Both in the working
Because
environments. Yeah.
sorry, yeah, yeah. Do you mean greeting customers, I guess, or greeting other
Coworkers.
employees, greeting
Mm-mm-mm.
coworkers?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, okay, yeah, for sure. Not greeting coworkers is something that definitely happens.
yeah. That happens again, not only in Japan.
Not only in Japan, yeah.
Uh, did you have that kind of person before?
Yeah, I still do, but yeah, I
Still?
have before. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I
Uh,
think maybe like I would say I'll talk about people now. I would say that some people are maybe not morning people,
oh.
but my work starts at 11:30. It's not really the morning.
Oh, oh.
But yeah, some people come
Mm,
in and like most people like when they get into the office will say, hello or otsukaresama desu or whatever
mm,
like when they come in, right?
mm,
But
mm,
I feel like you don't have to do that. Like you don't have to say it to the whole office.
mm, mm, mm.
But I feel like you should say it to maybe whoever you're sitting next to. Like
Yeah.
when you go and sit down in your chair, you say, good morning. But especially because often I will do it first,
Oh,
and then
me too. Mhm.
a couple of people I'm thinking of don't say it back all the
Oh.
time. Or
Oh.
maybe they'll just kind of like mutter, like they'll kind of be like, or like,
Oh.
like something like they'll make a noise, but
Oh.
not really like good morning. It might be like, instead of, and then it's like,
Oh.
wait, hold on, come on. That's not very
Oh.
ever.
So it's not Japanese or it's not an American or where they come from doesn't matter in that case.
Yeah, I would say it can happen with anybody.
So in that case, English speaking people,
The one
Japanese.
I'm talking about,
Yeah,
both,
both.
both, I
あー、
would say, yeah.
そっか、matter じゃなく matter ですね。こう、ブツブツ言うっていう。そう、ライリーは今もいるよっていうまさかの衝撃的なね、発言がありましたけど、So I hope no one listens to this episode, working at
I hope they do, and then they start saying good morning to me. No, I'm kidding.
そっか。そうや
No, I'm
な。
kidding. I'm kidding.
そう。
It's not so bad actually. I don't really mind that much, but
なるほどね。そう、僕は、もうさ、大人になってさ、僕はあの、ユニクロで働いてた時18からだから21とかまででしたけど、まあ若いじゃないですか。言うたらまだ子供じゃないですか。その時から、 なんか大人で、こう挨拶せえへんってほんま最低やなっていつも思ってて、どの面下げて、どの口がお客様のためや言うて、ほざいとんねんって、怖い怖い怖い。ごめんなさい。今日ブラックソーとか出てきますけど、そう、どの口がほざいとんねんと思うぐらい、おるじゃないですか。挨拶せえへんみたいな。しかもその理由が、なんかもう朝早くて機嫌悪いとか、自分がなんかプライベートで嫌なことがあったとか、あるいはなんかまあ仕事でね、こう大変、お互い大変なことがあって機嫌悪いみたいな、なんかちっちゃい人間やなって、もうあの頃から本当に思うことが多くて、そう、この挨拶せえへんってこれなんなんやろっていう、多分今聞かれてる方はね、いらっしゃる、ね、ああ、わかるわかるっていうね、方いらっしゃると思うんですけど、これは日本だけなのかなとかと思って今聞いてたんですけど、やっぱアメリカでも全然あるよっていう、そうなんやなっていう。で、今もあるっていう。もう、あれやめましょう。そう、このポッドキャスト聞いてくださってる方はね、なんですか、そういう方いらっしゃらないと願いたいんですけど、もうやめましょう。お互いに挨拶無視するっていうのはもう一番なんか、気持ちよくないと思うので、そう、プラスまあ、僕は挨拶しない人にほど逆に挨拶するので、そう、逆になんか嫌われるんかもですけど、おはようございますって逆に言いに行くっていう。で、返事するまで言うてやるっていうタイプでもあるので、そう、あんま良くないかもですけど、でも、帰ってくる、帰ってこない関係なく、もう自分の気持ちよさのためにね、そういうごめんなさいとか、あ、すいませんとか、おはようございますとか、ありがとうございますはなんか言いたいですよね。うん。っていうのが、そうそう、これがちょっと今スッキリしましたね。他なんかあったかな聞きたかったことは、oh yeah. So last question. What did you learn from your part-time job experience? In my case, as I said, customer service skills. And then, yeah, that experience I had, if I speak about everything, it's going to be long. So I don't want to talk about all of them. But I worked really hard there. Then that
Mm.
experience, or that experiences are still connected with what I'm doing right now. So I learned a lot from my part-time job experience, especially customer service skills. So how about you? What did you learn looking back on your history?
Yeah, I think probably the most important thing was like I learned how to do hard things. Like
Mm,
none of my jobs except maybe the farming were like that hard really, but still I learned how to like do something and put up with something that I don't want to do for,
mm,
6 or 8 hours or whatever.
mm, mm,
That's something that I'd never really had to do before. Even school, obviously, like, you know, going to school isn't always the most fun, but usually there's something you can look forward to during school. Like you like at least one of the classes or some of the people in your class. But like sometimes when you go to a job,
mm.
you don't really like the people that you work with. You don't like the
Yeah.
job that you're doing. You just
Mm,
kind of have to be there for 6 hours or whatever. So that kind of thing, uh, I learned about how to deal with that.
mm,
And the other one is probably working with and talking to people that are not like me, you
mm,
know? Like
mm.
growing up in school, most of the kids are more or less like me. They're at least my age, but a
Yeah.
lot of them are also like, you know, from the same sort of background. They're culturally similar or whatever, if you want to put it that way. But getting to like a job, especially like McDonald's, there were people from all over the kind of spectrum of like
Mm,
lifestyles. There were some
mm,
people who were like immigrants, like from El Salvador or Guatemala. I think the manager was from Bangladesh or something like that. And then the people that I worked, like the white people that I worked with,
mm,
were often from like a kind of lower social class, if you want to. They were,
mm,
they like I said, they would come to work like high or maybe drunk or
mm,
something like that. And
mm.
like uh that sorry, I shouldn't make it seem like lower social class means you go to work high or drunk. Absolutely it doesn't. But those are two things that kind of in this case
Mm,
go together.
mm.
Um but yeah, so it was kind of yeah, a learning experience to learn how to talk to and how to be friendly maybe isn't exactly the right word, but like how to be polite to people from all different walks of life.
Yeah. That's so true. Yeah. Then you recommend, younger people like high school students or college students should work, not sure, or yeah. You
I
want
think
them
should
to
work.
work? Should work? Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I
うんうん。
think I would say high school. Yeah, I think like I don't know. It's probably crazy in Japan for a lot of Japanese high school students, especially if they're trying to get into university.
うん。
But I think probably you can learn more at a job
Right. うん。
doing a shitty job that you don't like
うん。
than you can learn from like, I don't know, skip one day of Juku and go to a shitty job and you'll probably learn more.
うん、うん、なるほどね。確かにね。セリーっていう、セリー、馬鹿げた、ちょっとクソみたいなっていう、ちょっ
No,
と
no,
来たんですけど。
shitty, shitty.
Shitty. Sorry.
Yeah.
Mispronunciation. Shitty, not city. Shitty, job. ちょっと馬鹿げた仕事っていうね。あとは、put up with 我慢するっていう。そう、最後ね、これ聞きたかったのが、なんかバイトから学んだ経験あるっていうお話で、僕は、こう、やっぱ本当に僕接客頑張ったんですよ。なので、どうやったら本当に人に喜んでもらえるだろうっていう、人とこう会話しながらっていうところって本当に自分なりに研究してすっごい頑張ったので、こう、あの時の経験って生きてるなと思うんですよね。で、ライリーは、こう、我慢すること、やっぱり嫌な仕事、それこそシリーのジョブがあった時にね、あるいは嫌な人がいた時とか、やっぱ大学とか学校とかと同じ価値観の人たちでね、こう、ある意味集まってますけど、いろんな、バックグラウンドを持った人たちと働くこと、そこで我慢しないといけないこと、そこの大切さを学べたっていう。で、特にアメリカのいろんなバックグラウンドの人がってなると、本当にいろんなでしょうね。人種もそうでしょうし、やっぱね、貧富の差とかもすごいあったり、あとはね、さっきの、こう、環境的に、こう、貧富の経済的に厳しい方、あとは薬物だったりとか、お酒にね、こう依存してる人とか、本当にいろんな人がいる中で、どううまく働いていくかっていうのをすごい学べたっていう。なので、そう、僕はさっきライリーも聞いてたんですけど、こう、若いうちにいろいろそういうバイトとかってすべきってお勧めしたいかって聞いてて、僕は後で言おうと思ってたのが、僕は若いうちにいっぱいやるべきだと思うんですよね。で、いくつになっても、そういうなんかしんどいなっていう仕事って、できる、その自分の仕事の範囲内でね、こう、もう、年取ってきたら楽して働こうっていう人って多いと思うんですけど、僕はなんか常に現場の仕事とか大変な仕事は死ぬまでやっていきたいなって思っていて、で理由がやっぱ人の気持ちがわかると思うんですよね。そういうしんどい仕事をすることで。あとは自分自身もやっぱサバイバル能力というか、ね、なんか楽して、ちょっと言い方悪いですけど、もう、ボンボンとかジョーちゃんのお仕事しかしてん、もうボンボンジョーちゃんとかって、もうあんま汚いこと嫌です、みたいな感じで、どうやってなんか自分で生きていくのって僕は昔からすごい思うんですよね。で、僕もどっちかっていうとちょっとこう、お坊ちゃんが多い学校に通ってたこともあるので、なんやろな、もう何もできひん子ってすごい多くて、で、大人になってもそういう子ってなんか何もできてないんで、ごめんなさい、ちょっと感じちゃうことがあって、でもやっぱりそういうのってアルバイトで鍛えれるって僕は思うんですよね。なので、なるべく若いうちから、日本語ではね、こう、若いうちの苦労は勝ってでもせえって言いますけれども、なんかしんどいことっていうのはやっぱ若い時にしかできないことってあると思うので、僕はやっぱアルバイトとかやるべきなんじゃないかなと思ってライリーにも聞いたところ、そう、絶対やるべきだと思うっていう。で、日本ではやっぱ勉強勉強ってなってね、こう塾とかそっちに行きがちだけれども、一回塾休んでアルバイト行くことで、なんかその勉強じゃないところで学べることあると思うよっていう、本当その通りと同時に、日本ってね、ちょっとやっぱ、ちゃんと勉強しないといけないっていうところもあると思うので、そこはね、うまくバランスは取ってほしいんですけど、大学、例えば入った時に、そう、楽な、もう若いうちから先生先生って言われるような仕事とかじゃなく、ごめんなさい、そういうことをされてる方いらっしゃった。僕の価値観だとして捉えてくださいね。もう、そう、一個僕が思うのは、家庭教師とかも僕4年生の時にやってたんですけど、大学1年生の時とかにはしないって決めてて、なんでかっていうと、入った時点から先生先生って呼ばれて、自分を勘違いしちゃう気がすごいしてて、で、親もいつもそれは言ってて、苦労するような大変な仕事しいやっていうのは、親は昔からいつも言っていて、それが僕の中にもあって、そうなんかこう楽な仕事しかしない友達っていたんですけど、なんかそういう子って、社会人になっても、なんか緩いなと思うんですよね。自分で何もできないっていう なんかたくましくないなって思っちゃうので、そう、なんかね、これを聞かれてる方、大学入って、そう、いろんな仕事あっていいと思うんですけど、経験のためにいろいろするのはいいと思うんですけど、ちょっと大変な仕事もやることで、絶対将来自分に生きてきますし、強い自分になれると思うので、はい、このエピソードが、まあ何かこう、アルバイトをしている人とか、嫌だな、この仕事って、今苦しんでる方が、いつか絶対自分のためになると思っていただけるエピソードになっていると嬉しいなと思います。では今日のエピソード
いかがでしたでしょうか？
いかがでしたでしょうか？ So I try not to select teaching jobs when I was in college, especially
Uh-huh.
around that first part, because yeah, after having that experience of, shitty jobs, that should be
Right.
okay. But, right after in Japan, smart people or, those people, students who studied really hard go to the university, then the job they get is kind of tutoring, like
Right,
teaching,
right.
yeah, at schools. Then, in my perspective, I want them to have, as you said, shitty jobs, because 18-year-old boy or girl, they're called teacher right after they get into the school. So I sometimes wonder if they can survive after actually working. So yeah, but that's my perspective. After getting to the university, in my case, I had a shitty job, Uniqlo. I don't know if that was shitty, but yeah. So how about you? Like, do you have any recommended jobs? You want them to do it at least once?
Um, I think pretty much everyone should work in food at some point in their life. Like you worked at Hoka Hokate and then um other other restaurants, izakayas, something food related I think is important because everybody eats food and everybody goes to restaurants, but you don't always realize like what goes on behind the scenes. I think it's like, and maybe also I actually didn't do this, but I think maybe also everyone should work retail, which is, like Uniqlo in your case, like working in a shop where people go. I think those are two that probably everyone should do at some point in their lives, even if it's for only like 3 or 6 months or whatever.
わかる。それめっちゃわかる。そこの価値観ちょっと今似てるなと思ったんですけど、飲食店は本当、一回はやるべきだと、そう僕も思うんですよね。そう綺麗ななんかもうごめんなさい、楽言うたらあかんかもやけど、綺麗ななんかしんどくない仕事じゃなくて、飲食店って結構大変じゃないですか。こう、人の食べた、正直あんま綺麗じゃないもの洗ったりとか、なんかこう、それこそイエーをして叫んでくるね、お客さんも例えばいたりとか、そこでなんかこうね、なんか一回、なんだろうな、プライドを潰されるというか、なんかしんどみたいに思わされる経験って僕はなんか大事な気がするんですよね。打たれ強くなるという意味で。そう、なので、なんか、そう、今ライリーも言ってたような、まあライリーは、自分がよく食べるものの裏側を知るべきなんじゃないかっていう、リータル、小売業とかね、そういうものも、裏側を知るべきなんじゃないかっていう視点ではありましたけれども、そう、結構僕もね、飲食店で働くのはすごいおすすめかなと思いますかね。まあ最後にこういろんなね、お仕事を今されてる方、アルバイトの方、学生の方でね、いらっしゃって、いろんな価値観あると思うので、今回のね、僕の発言とか、僕のアドバイスっていうのは、まあ、話半分で聞いていただければと思うんですけど、そう、一応経験上ね、なんかこう、たくましい人って結構いろんな経験してきてる人多いなと思うので、そう、若い時、しかね、そういうなんか、しんどい仕事ってできないので、その経験が絶対将来の面白い話になるので、あの時さ、あの時のこういう大変な仕事でさ、こういうことあってさって、おもろい話が多分できるようになると思うのでね、まあお互い、ちょっといくつになってもたくましく生きられるように、ちょっと頑張れたらなと思います。僕は英語のソータで調べていただくと、いろいろ、YouTube とか、SNS とか Twitter とか出てきます。ジョークでね、シリージョブユニクロって言ったけど、僕ユニクロシリーやと思ってへんからね、ライリー。I don't think. そう
Oh, really?
そういや、思ってない。全然、大変な仕事やったけど、シリージョブユニクロだとは全然、思ってないので、まあ、どんな仕事もね、時にね、シリーである時はあると思うのでね。はい、ライリーはライリーさんは XD で調べていただくと出てきます。So, that's it, Riley. You wanna...
Yeah, all right. No, that's it. I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Like, I think I would encourage people to get jobs. I know probably for a lot of high school students it is hard to get jobs. Maybe their schools don't allow it. Maybe their parents would say it's more important to go to Juku or whatever. But maybe college students, at that point you can kind of do what you want to do. I think, yeah, get a shitty job and experience what it's like to not like being at work or whatever. I think it's kind of important.
確かに、そうです。Let's get a shitty job っていうのが、ポイントですね。そう、たくましく生きていきましょう。ではまた次回のエピソードでお会いしましょう。バイ。